Today, we're diving into something pretty wild. It's the story of how a single band's comeback can be so powerful, it actually reshapes an entire nation's economy. Yep, we are talking about BTS and a return to the stage worth an estimated, get this, $4.5 billion.
So let me start by asking you a question. Which of these do you think pumps more money into a country's economy? On one hand, you've got the sheer industrial power of exporting 120,000 cars. On the other, just 5 concerts from one band. Now, the answer here is probably not what you're thinking.
You guessed it. It's the concerts, and is not even close. Those 5 shows are expected to inject a jaw-dropping $4.5 billion into South Korea's economy. This isn't just about music anymore, you guys. This is macroeconomics. Welcome to the world of BTS Nomics.
Okay, so that brings us to the $4.5 billion question. How? How on earth does a band generate more economic juice than a massive industrial export like cars? Let's break down the mechanics behind this absolutely insane number.
The strategy here is so interesting because it completely flips the old model on its head. Most artists, they go on a world tour. They take the show to the fans. But BTS and their agency, HYBE, have created a cultural event that's so powerful it pulls the entire world to them. We're talking hundreds of thousands of fans and all their money flying directly into South Korea.
And this whole strategy, this magnetic pull, it actually has a name. They call it inbound power. It's how Korea is creating this whole new kind of cultural and economic gravity. So let's take a closer look at what that means.
So what is inbound power? It's actually a pretty simple idea. It's when your cultural product, whether it's music, movies, whatever, is so compelling that people feel they have to travel to the source to experience it fully. So HYBE isn't just selling you an album, they're basically selling you an entire vacation package to South Korea.
And here's how they pull it off. They weave Korean culture right into the DNA of their art. For instance, they'll build content around concepts like Arirang, which is super deep in Korean history. In doing that, they're turning national identity into a commercial product. Then, they basically act as global ambassadors, live streaming this culture out to nearly 200 countries. It's honestly one of the biggest and most effective tourism campaigns for South Korea ever.
But look, the band is only one piece of this puzzle. To really understand the sheer scale of this operation, we have to look at the company behind them, HYBE. And we need to look at how it evolved from just a music label into something much, much bigger.
Now this right here is the key. You have to stop thinking of HYBE as just a music company. They're a tech company now. By building their own platform Weverse, they created this entire digital ecosystem where their global fan base can live. And what that means is that they own the relationship with their fans. They have a direct line for engagement, for monetization, that goes way beyond just selling a song or a t-shirt.
And the result of that powerful platform model? An economic impact of around $900 million per concert. That's because when you control the entire ecosystem, you can predict and scale revenue in a way that old-school record labels can only dream about. And for investors, that kind of predictability is absolute gold.
Okay, so how do we get from millions in ticket sales all the way up to billions in economic impact? It comes down to a really cool economic principle that basically acts like a 10x engine for growth. It's called the multiplier effect.
I know, it sounds impossible, doesn't it? How can a single concert ticket end up creating 10 times its own value for the entire economy? Well, it all comes down to a really powerful chain reaction.
The multiplier effect is a classic concept in economics. The idea is really simple. An initial burst of spending, that first dollar, gets spent over and over and over again. It creates a ripple effect that makes the final impact way bigger than the original amount.
Let's just follow the money for a second. A fan buys a ticket. Okay, that's the first bit of spending. But then they have to buy a plane ticket to get to Korea. They have to book a hotel room. And once they're on the ground, they're spending money at restaurants, shopping for skincare products, buying merch. All of a sudden, that one ticket sale is helping to support the airline industry, the hotel industry, local shops, you name it. Every step creates another ripple of economic activity.
And right here, you can see that ripple effect on a massive scale. The source material estimates that for just one concert, the initial ticket revenue of about $75 million ends up generating a total economic impact of $750 million. That is the 10x multiplier in action, and it's an incredibly powerful engine for economic growth.
But this massive flood of cash and people, it isn't all good news. Underneath all the celebration, there's a pretty significant risk that could threaten the long-term health of this entire economic model.
And here's the dark side of that boom. When demand goes through the roof, some local businesses see a chance to make an extreme profit. We're talking about a basic hotel room that might normally cost, say, $75 a night, suddenly being listed for over $750. That's a 1,000% markup. It's just wild.
This kind of extreme overcharging is actually so common that it has its own name in Korean, bagaji. And while this price gouging might mean short-term profits for a few business owners, it poses a really serious threat to the whole model in the long run.
And here's why this matters so much. Think about it. When a tourist travels halfway around the world and then feels like they're being ripped off, it just sours the entire experience. That one negative interaction damages the national brand of South Korea and makes it way less likely they'll ever come back. For HYBE and its investors, this is a major sustainability risk. You just can't build a long-term empire if the very foundation, the hospitality of the host city, is shaky.
All of this leaves us with one final, much bigger question. The whole BTS phenomenon proves that cultural influence can compete with and sometimes even beat traditional industries in pure economic power. Which really forces us to ask, in our super-connected world, is a nation's culture becoming its single most valuable export? It's definitely something to think about.